We set out on a mission to find our inner peace, make it everlasting, so nothing's incomplete. It's easy being with you, sacred simplicity. As long as we're together, there's no place I'd rather be. With every step we take, Kyoto to the bay, strolling so casually. We're different and the same, yeah, you and nothing me. Switch up the batteries.
Ich hab gedacht, dass alles wird anders. Du hast dir alles verdient, du hast Anomalie, du hast Anomalie. Wir sind beide 13 Jahre alt, wir sind beide 13 Jahre alt. Ich bin endlos verliebt, ich war nie so verliebt. Ich bin endlos verliebt, ich war nie so verliebt. Ich hab gedacht, im Lauf seines Landes, ich bin schon da, du bist noch woanders. Ich hab dir lange verziehen, ich hab Adrenalin, ich hab Adrenalin. Wir sind beide 13 Jahre alt, wir sind beide 13 Jahre alt. Ich bin endlos verliebt, ich war nie so verliebt. Ich bin endlos verliebt, ich war nie so verliebt. Ich bin endlos verliebt, ich war nie so verliebt. Ich bin endlos verliebt, ich war nie so verliebt.
Step away, need to remove myself. I can't take the unnecessary narcissistic commentary. Eyes hurt, feeling dumber all the time. Submerged in a cultural void. Extravagance will unemployed, and still I see the light. Faded, but they're nonetheless. There's hope for us yet. Block out the ignorance. So don't try and talk to me, 'cause I've had enough of all this social nonsense. Don't believe what the media has to say. It's all funded by the yuppie scum anyway. I don't fit in. I don't seem to fucking care. I am a man, nothing more, certainly nothing less, but so are you. So try and think for yourself. We've been given the opportunity to be all that we want to be, and now you're sitting by.
Hello, guys. We're happy to have. I'm so excited for this SLE season finally starting, and we have so much content to go through today.
For sure. I'm very excited to be here as well, and it should be a hype season 5, Split 5.
being heard. Okay, now it should be fixed. Then I will just reintroduce myself. Hey, I'm Ninus, and this is the SLE Split 5 podcast. And I also think the split will be really, really hype. We have like a lot of really cool teams. We have storylines. We have a lot of players who are like really engaged, who just came into the SLE and who are like active in chat and everything. And yeah, I'm really, really excited to present together with like Mikas and Dessa, and also Jomi will join in later, to present you the split. And yeah, I think the first thing that we will talk about is basically our SLE team and the cast and production team that we will have for this split. We are currently 8 people in the moderator team, 8 active people. And yeah, we work really, really hard to make this whole thing possible. Our main producer for the split will be Peppa Kako. Like, he already produced most of the games last split, and he did an amazing job. But we will also have with Lou, Jackson, and also Ant, 3 other producers who will help out, so we get as much streamed as possible. We also will make sure that everything we stream is also uploaded to YouTube later on, so even in a year you can watch back your, I don't know, week 3 game where you trapped Team X like really, really hard. So yeah, that's basically the plan. The next step that we will do, or the first real thing, is that we will present each individual team to you. Like, we talk about them a bit, and yeah, that's basically what we will do.
Yeah, we have 22 teams this SLE split. I think it's a record number. Starting last, I think previously we had something like 20 teams, 10 for each division. But that some of those things will be broken down later. How the format will work. We will be joined by Yomi as well. But I think, yeah, let's start with the teams, Linus.
Yeah, and wait, let me resize it real quick. The first team is the SLE champion of last split, with Vitagen. And a really exciting team. Like last split, they came in, they built like this kind of super roster with like a lot of MVPs, former MVPs, like even with Loco as a champion coming in and giving a lot of those players who played in the SOE for so long, for many, many splits, their SOE title, which they were looking for. All that together with like, and like the top laner who came in and had like a lot of really, really good weeks. He got like, I think 5 or 6 team of the week entrances, by far the most of any. He also got Rookie of the Split. And for the upcoming split, 2 of their players, Itchy on the mid lane and Loco on support, both went to the substitute position. But yeah, while also 2 new people came in, Deki and also Saras. Okay, I've just fixed my microphone. Can you just tell me real quick if it's fine like this now in chat? If it's like better from the volume. Okay, it's
Sounds
fine.
good to me at least.
Yeah, okay, nice. And yeah, also I've joined Vitagen as a substitute for the top lane position. In general, I think this team looks really, really strong again on paper. What do you guys think?
I mean, I definitely think so too. And I think with you being a split 4 champion, I think it does give you a sort of mental advantage as well going into most of your matchups. I feel like Villagin is, and like we already said, 22 teams. Villagin is going to be definitely one of the teams we gotta look out for, and definitely someone that I will be keeping a keen eye on to see how they do.
Well, for me, Vitagen still has things to prove, honestly. Last season, they kind of, I feel like, did not face. They basically, their championship has a little bit of an asterisk, if you ask me. In the finals, I feel like the team they faced, the Dolly 5, did not bring their A game, or even didn't necessarily like kind of, I don't know. They had weird drafts, very, very weird drafts. And moving up to finals, they got automatic win over in the legendary series against White Tigers, which was held in in chats, and then they defeated what was the team? The CCG team as well, which they had defeated like 7 times before. So they kind of got a very weird, very like strange series to play. And for me, this will be the series. This will be the season that will prove that Vitagen is one of the best teams in SLE history, or they're just one of the winners. You know.
Yeah, definitely. I personally think they can do it again, or we can do it again. Um, I'm, I think like a lot of people underestimate their drafts. I think the drafts are just a step above a lot of other teams. And we will see if this will be the case again for this split. But they are obviously, as the reigning champions, one of the clear favorites to win the upcoming split. Okay, let's go over to the next team, the Greasy Goblins.
Ooh, and I mean, there's a lot of things you can say about the Goblins, and initially, they did look like, to me, one of the more stronger teams that we have. Went 6-0 in, I think, their first two show matches, and obviously show matches being, at least what we've seen so far, tend to be 3-0s for the most part, and the Swedish squad, to me, just seemed really strong. In the couple last show matches, they have shown a bit of a regression, in my opinion. I feel like they have had quite a few tough hits, so it'll be interesting to see if they can bounce back between when Split 5 does begin. And this is as well a team that has been playing together for a long time. The Panini, the jungler, and the bot lane basically grew up together. They've known each other for a long time. There is that connection between them that a lot of these teams don't have. They do feel, and I did sort of give each of the captains, at least from teams that I'm covering, a little bit of an interview. And at least in their opinion, it is their early game that is their weakness for the most part. And I feel like that's as well what we have seen. Their early game is not the best. And I feel like if they can sort of fix that up, if they can look past that and get better at the early game, I feel like they have much more of a chance. They, to me, seem like a team that is very sort of 50-50. If there's a 5% chance of a fight, they'll take it nonetheless and just, sort of see what happens. But definitely for me, a team that I will be looking out to see whether they can pull it off and make a comeback.
Yeah, and I think one of the main storylines of the Greasy Goblins will actually involve their jungler, Panini, who came into the last split as the new Gucci jungler just after Gucci had won the SLE for a second time. And there were a lot of questions if he could like live up to the Gucci standard that we were used to in the league. And he couldn't. His split was really disappointing, and a lot of people were like pointing fingers at him when looking why Gucci didn't play so well. I think there were many other problems as well that were coming into it, but he definitely got like his share. And now he's coming in, and I think in the show matches he has shown like really great performances, and I really hope for him that he can basically prove the whole league that he is actually a really good jungler, a top jungler in the league. And on the Greasy Goblins, he can definitely do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's go over to the third team, which will be the first of the two Gucci teams, Gucci Yang.
Yeah, Gucci Yang coming in this SLE split between two Gucci teams. Gucci Yang is known more of more as the boomer squad because they have a little bit more experience in the league. But actually, both teams do. This team consists of Ruzu top lane and another returning player in SLE, a season one finalist actually. And his teammate also in season one, Flater Day on support, Kanz on ADC, which might be one of the early contenders for MVP award, if you ask me. And then Revelio in the jungle, which is another rookie coming in, and Rebreathe in mid lane. But basically, for this team, they have so much experience, they have so much talent stacked in this team, and we have already seen it in the show matches. The key factor will be to unlock the veterans of the team, like Kanza, like Flay, like Russo, to carry maybe the early parts of the season and then bring in the rookies of Revillion, Rebreed into the mix and kind of grow them over the split to contend for the championship. And if you, Linus, what is your opinion? Because this is a team that you already have seen a lot in show matches. How do you feel about Gucci's young early chances?
Okay, so when I heard first that Gucci will have two teams that will come into the split, I was a bit skeptical because I thought, okay, this team has a really high standard. How can they possibly bring two teams in and fulfill that standard after such a split in split 4? But I'm really surprised how well those teams look on paper and also how well they look in show matches. And Guqiang is the team that I have a bit higher on my list. I think Flay, who had an MVP, not an MVP season, he did get the MVP, but he was in the talk for it. I think he had a really good season. And this team as a whole looks really strong, and I'm excited to see how well they will do. But they will definitely contend for like the top seats in the league. That's my take on it. What do you think, Desa?
I definitely think so. And with what we've seen from them in show matches already, they are looking like they're gonna be one of the top teams going to Split 5. And obviously, like you already said, Linus, there is a lot of talent going already into this squad. And I can't wait for the fabled game where whether we get a miracle run or not, it's gonna be Kuching versus Guqiang in the finals. Because that'd be amazing.
That would be a lot of fun indeed. But for now, let's talk about a different team, which will be our reigning Division 1 champions, Snackpack. I mean, they will be the reigning Division 1 champion for the rest of like eternity because we don't have Division 1 and Division 2 anymore. But yeah, I personally think that Snackpack is one of the top favorites in the league as well. Like they have kept the same roster they had last time. Even though they didn't have an MVP player, they had like a really strong overall team. Every one of their players was like second, third, or fourth in like their own position, and their team play was like really strong in Division 1. Um, in playoffs, they dropped out pretty badly. Like they first lost against Kakapo Adax, 2-1, and then lost 0-2 against CCG Muffins. But that has always been the story of Snackpack so far. Like in every tournament that I remember them, and I know them for like over 2 years now, in every tournament they always start out really great in the group stage or in like the regular season or whatever. Like they are really good. They are winning things. And then in playoffs, it's always like a crash down. Like I can't remember a single tournament where they have not came into playoffs as like one of the favorites, if not the favorite team, and then they still dropped out as like the first team or one of the first teams. And I'm really excited to see if they can finally overcome this playoff curse, you could call it. But they definitely have the like the talent to do that.
I agree. Snackback, the reigning Division 1 champions, definitely one of the strongest teams coming into this split. And I think the note is that I think all of their starting roster is coming back. They have a lot of experience in playing together, and in these early phases of the league, I think they just might be the strongest team starting off in week 1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's definitely a possibility. What do you think, Desa?
I definitely agree. They are, like you said, a lot of returning players, a lot of experience behind them. A lot of their play does tend to regulate through Evo. So I feel like it's gonna be a lot of pressure on him. It's gonna be a lot of pressure on the jungle to make sure that he performs, make sure that he shows up. Because Snackpack as a squad tend to be lacking if their jungler isn't there and if their jungler just doesn't sort of exist. So definitely I'm hoping and praying for a lot of things to come out of Evo. And I feel like, in my opinion, they are the strongest team that's gonna be coming into Split 5 when it starts. So it's definitely gonna be interesting to see how they perform and how they get their Split 5 run started off.
Yeah, definitely. But we will keep them at the side for now and go over to the next team, which will be the Vekivres X. Why X? Because we have two teams, the Vekivres X and the Vekivres Y. I hate that name. It's such a pain to pronounce. But yeah, Team WWX. Like they are one of the two teams because the team split up last split. If you remember correctly, at the beginning it was just one Vekivres team with Lina on the mid lane, Spilka on ADC, Robbery on jungle. Uzujin was also on the squad back then. And after the first few weeks, they decided that it's not all going as they wanted to be, so they decided to split up. And on one team, you had Spilka and like Epic and Lina, who were not playing or not continuing last split, and the other team was around Uzujin and Robbery, who is the Y team, which was the team basically that continued and finished last split, going into playoffs and dropping out there. And the Wacky Reds X team, I think, is the one that on paper should be the stronger team of the two. They still have Lina on the mid lane, they have Epic on the top lane, and they have like really, really good players, or I have found really good players that they have got into the roster. Spilka, one of the most hyped rookies of last split, sadly is not playing League at the moment and is not on the main roster. But Firefrost, the new ADC, also looks really, really good. Nenro on support and Germany on jungle. Like, they are all like really good players. But what we have also seen in show matches recently, the team struggles a lot. Like, in their Prime League Division 6 run, or Division 5 run, I think was it, they went 0-14, just dropped out without even winning a single game. And it's been a long time since they really had success and really felt what it was like winning. And I think that's the main thing that this team needs to get together, like actually start winning games.
Yeah, I agree. Just start winning, forehead. But Wacky Waits just returning with two teams, and both of them have not had convincing show matches just yet, but we saw in some of them that once, like when they start putting in more games, they start to play better, and I think the wins are gonna come sooner or later.
Yeah, definitely so. And I think, like you said, it just needs time. I think it will take a little bit of time for them to get together. So I feel like the start of the split isn't gonna tell us much, I feel like, coming out of Wacky Race X. And I feel like the more so we get into the split, the more so they're gonna sort of reveal themselves, the more so they're gonna, like you said, get used to playing the teams around them. But definitely, I'm expecting for them to be one of the teams where they don't start off well, but going more into the split, I feel like they might start doing a little bit better. So if they don't have a good start, I feel like this isn't a team we should necessarily be counting out entirely. But I'm just looking forward to see how their start does begin.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, let's for now go to a different team, which will be presented by Mikus, the Blazing Pandas, or CCG Muffins last split.
I mean, you can call them the CCG Muffin. You can say that they took the CCG Muffins legacy, but actually their team has two members from CCG Muffins coming with Sanix and everyone's favorite SLE player Lurks. But they also have two. Actually, no, never mind. Never mind. My argument. I thought that they have two of the what's their name? Dolly 5 players.
Yeah,
but,
they do. Jonathan Isaac and Josiah, or don't they?
Oh, right. Yeah, just that's what was on my mind. Yeah. But just as a sub, and yeah, they have also Jonathan Isaac, proved himself as one of the best junglers in SLE last season, and of course Mishi Darko, who can be a very hit or miss player. So yeah, this team can have very very high highs. Maybe might go might have low lows as well. But yeah, very exciting to see them, and very exciting to see Sanix and Lurks back in on the Rift, cooking it up in the bot lane with that Seraphine on the bot lane. But yeah, I'm very interested to see how this team can perform. They looked very scary in the show match, absolutely destroying the Wacky Raid's opposition, and
I think they also might be one of the early contenders and a very, very scary team to draw up against in the first round.
Yeah, I feel so too. One main storyline, like for the players of like Rain D and Sanix and Rix for their team last bit was that it was really unreliable. Like they had games where they looked like the best team in the league. Maybe they beat like really really good teams, but they also lost to like like the lower teams in their division. They had a lot of games that went 1-1 because they won one game and they threw one game completely away. And I really want to see this team grow some consistency for themselves. Be able to over a few weeks always win and not just win some and throw some away because that's not enough if you want to get really far in the split.
Yeah, definitely not. And this is Blazing Pandas, one of the teams that Greasy Goblins did struggle with in that last show match. 3-0 for the side of the Pandas. And main thing that to me stood out in that show match was their bot lane, showing that they can play that Kai'Sa pike, they can play more of those aggressive lanes. Or, like you said it yourself, Mikos, they can just pick the Seraphine Sona, they can just chill down there. And like we said it ourselves, definitely gonna be one of the more scarier teams heading into Split 5.
Yeah, I feel so too. But for now, let's go to the next team, which is one of the two EUNE teams coming from a different server and crashing into the SLE, which is Project Imperia.
Project Imperial. This is a team that I believe is hailing from Greece, if I'm not completely mistaken. And this is actually a team that I have had the privilege of already seeing play in a different league called Odyssey League, which I did cast a couple of games for. And I will admit they do have their shaky moments, but being I feel like all with the same nationality does give them that sort of national advantage like we already had in the article. If you guys have read that, which Linus did write, they are gonna be using the Euros as their sort of booster coming into the Split 5. And for me, I'm very excited to see as well people and teams from other regions to come over to SLE and to come over to compete. And that to me is very exciting. And I'm not gonna lie, this team is a bit of a question mark, even for me, even after seeing them play in the other league. So definitely gonna be looking out and seeing what they can bring to the table and seeing, well, maybe seeing different strategies they can bring coming from EUNA.
Yeah, and I think that will be there and also of the other UNE team main talking point. If they don't do well, a lot of people will be like, yeah, why even get teams from UNE in? It was obvious that they will not perform. It was obvious that they will like feature at the bottom of the league. But if they can compete, there might be the question if we get more UNE teams in the future because they can clearly compete. And I think like that will always be in the back. Like every single game you will watch of them, it will always be, yeah, UNE, by the way. And if they want to prove that UNE is actually a server with teams you can respect and that you can bring into a league like the SLE, then they have to show that the split.
Yeah, definitely. So, and Mikas, I do want to hear your thoughts on the whole regional battle, EU West versus EUNA sort of thing. What are your thoughts on it?
I think that any EU Nordic East team should be respected until they get defeated on the Rift. So I will give them the respect they deserve till then. But that being said, when I was, I think, a plat 4 hardstuck learning to play ADC, I got the D1 on Nordic East, and I did not even know how to use the auto attack thing, the right click auto attack attack move. So back then it wasn't the strongest of servers. Maybe it has changed right now. So I'm excited to see what Project Inferior can do, and I'm hoping that they won't be Project Inferior at the end.
Yeah, that's a good end, I think, for Project Imperia. And we'll go over to the next team, which is Black Manta SNC. My former team, who was dissolved just a few weeks ago, just to be what's the word? Refounded just a week later. Um, Black Manta is the reigning Division 2 champion. They've came into playoffs, knocked out the Veki Res before losing to CCG Muffins. In Split 3, Black Manta was the silver medalist. They came like as the second lowest team out of Division 1 into playoffs and had like their own like little Cinderella story where they beat out 6 teams to get to Gucci in the finals. They lost to Gucci, but that Gucci roster was like really, really goated, I think, with like Captainen and Sovonix and Savage, for example. But yeah, like Black Manta is of the whole German teams, the most successful one so far in SLE history. But this split will be really, really hard. They've lost both Linus, their top laner, me, and also Elrad, who is like the main shot caller, the supporter, the star, like the star player basically of the team. And of the remaining roster of last split, only Denza and Christy are remaining. Or in maybe, yeah. Maybe moved to the top lane. Christy moved to support. Kaliba came in as ADC, and they currently don't have a main jungler yet. They are still looking for one. So if you're interested and are speaking German, then you can hit them up, I guess. But I'm really, really uncertain about this team. Like a lot of role swaps, and I really feel like they will struggle a lot, especially early before finding their groove.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of question marks around Black Manta, and like you said, a lot of role swaps and a lot of sort of new things coming into this team. Obviously, like you said, did have a decent split on split number 4, so definitely could be some good things coming. But I definitely agree with you, Linus. I do feel like they might have a bit of a rough start. So definitely one of the bigger question marks, or one of the few question marks we have heading into split number 5.
I'm so happy that we get to see Black Manta returning because they're one of the legacy teams. I think like by now in SLE going on their third split, the third season here. I think they are very close to the legacy level of teams like Runtime, Witage, and Gucci. So I'm just happy to have their name here. That being said, who was Black Manta before? I think it was when you think Black Manta, you thought Linus, you thought Elrat, right? Now, without these two star players, they do need to find themselves. They need to find themselves a new playstyle, and I think it's going to be largely around the new signing of Caliber. So let's see what Caliber can cook. I really hope to see this team in playoffs.
I hope so too. And it, like, I mean, when Black Manta came in, they were the first German team. Now I think we have like 6 or 7 German teams. But yeah, like, that's a big question. But for now, we will have it unanswered and go over to the next team, which is Interstellar Aquila.
Yeah, Interstellar Aquila is quite a new team. They are from organization called Interstellar, but the team is very, very freshly founded. I think a couple of months ago. And if we talk about teams that are full with Zoomers, that are absolute like polar opposites to the Boomer teams, this is one of them. They don't have any players that are older than 20 years old. They even have players like 18 and 16. So yeah, and I feel like the playstyle and the kind of mentality is really encapsulated by someone I know very closely, someone who actually used to play for Gucci game in like very early days. Their midliner Zedorzo, Oli, how I know him. He's a big Zed and Katarina player, and this guy. I just want to see him on the SLE stage because if he can pop off, it's gonna be one of the most exciting players to watch. That being said, they also have Algren, the player that also tried out for Gucci, Marcus in top line, Hjalaren in the jungle, and Valhir in support. And yeah, this team won't come out that strong, that guns blazing. Very they can really grow into something special.
I feel so too. I'm really, really excited to see this team. It was one of the last minute teams coming in, just crossing the line in like the last minute around 0 o'clock last Sunday. And I'm really happy that they made it in. And I'm really, really excited to see this roster. It could be really, really strong. They could be one of the top favorites for the whole title, or they are just like a mid-tier table, depending on how well they click. What do you think, Dessa?
I definitely think so as well, and I think it is good to see that there is more people taking interest in joining as well. And like Mikos already said, Interstellar being a bit of a newer team means that it might take them a little bit of time to sort of get to the hype or get to the speed and pace of play that is in SLE that some of these teams like Black Manta, some of these teams like Vitagen, the favorites coming in, can bring to the table. And it's just going to be interesting to see whether they can, like you said, keep up with the pace, keep up with the speed of the rest of the teams, or whether it's just gonna be a flop and whether it's gonna be a team that is gonna be forgotten.
Yeah. But for now, enough with this team and heading over to the next team, which is NLAN Esports.
And LAN esports, baby. I actually did manage to ask them if NLAN stands for something, and unfortunately, it does not.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, the abbreviation just is an abbreviation, but this is a team that, oh boy, have a lot of experience behind their back. This is a squad that, from my understanding, have been playing and known each other for a little bit over 5 years now. They have participated in connecting esports. They've been in Red Gaming, Phoenix League, CWL, European Amateur League. These guys have pretty much been wherever you can be and wherever leagues there are on in Europe. So this is gonna be a team that is gonna have a lot riding on them, a lot of experience as well. And they are a team that like to come prepared. They are a team that have a lot of coaching experience behind their backs. Their ADC and their mid laner both used to be coaches and have past coaching experience. So I feel like once we get to take a look at them going to Split 5, their drafts to me is what is gonna be the most interesting part, because when you have people who have past coaching experience, when you have people who have coached in the past, I feel like it brings a really unique eye to the table. It can either be a hindrance or it can either be the best thing that happens to your team. And when you have especially two of those voices, it's gonna be interesting to see how they choose to use that, whether it's gonna come and bite them in the back. But definitely to me, a team that I'm gonna be looking out for, because with the experience that they have, it is gonna be so hyped to see them play.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to mention one thing. Like, this logo is absolutely disgusting. I hate it. Um, no offense against the players, but I think there could have been like so many cool ways to have like NLAN written with like different fonts or like, I don't know, flames coming up or something. I'm not a fan of those minimalistic things. That being said, I'm really excited to see them in the league. Lord Lighty, their support is one of the players with like one of the most interesting storylines coming into the split. Last time he was on Bears in Bulgaria. Um, he helped this team fight their way through play-ins, go into tiebreakers. In tiebreakers, they beat I think Par for the Rift, it was, to come into Division 1. And then because he hit Masters for like an hour or something before dropping again, um, he was basically expelled from the league, because back then the rule was, okay, if you're a Masters player, you're out, which we don't have right now. We will go into the rule later on again. But now he is back in the league. Now he has his chance to basically show everyone, hey, I'm not a Masters player, or I'm someone like who can leave their mark on the league. And I think NLAN Esports is a team that you could see in the top spots, or at least like in the upper middle of the pack. But yeah, enough with NLAN Esports. Let's go over to the second Gucci team, which is Gucci Yin, Mikas.
Yeah, good Chi Yin, known as maybe the Zoomer team, but actually they as well have tons of experience.
Kim Jensen, a returning player in SLE, Obsidian, returning player in SLE, Zenj, returning player in SLE, and Wiggy is also a returning player in SLE. And they actually have more veterans in their team, if we only talk about SLE, than the Gucci Yang team. And yeah, I'm very excited to see Team Scheffer also joining here. Another player that could be a contender for the MVP for his role and for the whole league. But yeah, comparing this team to the other Gucci team, this team might have a little bit slower start as they do have maybe a little bit some things to iron out. But I think if we talk about the raw potential of the squad, the raw talent that they have, I feel like I would rank this team at the first place in the whole league, because the skill that these guys have is unmatched. And once they will get rolling, once Ace will take out the belt and make them play the right way, this team will be scary to face.
Yeah, definitely. I think this team is on paper maybe a bit better than Gucci. I value them a bit lower, but in a top 5 spot for like the title, of course. Like they have a lot of really, really good players, a lot of really, really exciting players. And I'm really interested to see them on the Rift. I really have the feeling with those two Gucci teams, you have teams who step into the shoes of like the Split 2, Split 3 Gucci, not the Split 4 Gucci. And they could like continue this Gucci legacy. So yeah, what do you think, Dessa?
I definitely agree, and this is the team that, as well, in our latest show match versus Wacky Wraiths Y, had everyone on the edge of our seats. It was a nearly a 40-minute banger between Sheffer and Usagin, the Ezreal versus the Corki, and I feel like it showed us a lot about how they play, how they can play under pressure as well, and definitely among the top 5, like you said, coming into Split 5. And Sheffer, just to me as a player, is just someone I'm always excited to watch, always excited when he gets on stream. So I'm definitely gonna be looking out for any games that Gucci plays in.
Yeah, I feel so too. But for now, we let Gucci be Gucci and go over to the next team, which is also one of the German teams, which is Shadow Wizard Gaming. Shadow Wizard Gaming is also new to the league, and they have made the unfortunate entrance of being featured twice in the power ranking on the last spot. They on paper look not that strong. They have a lot of players who in solo queue are in the lower elos of the league, and I think they really have to prove themselves. They are playing for like every game they play really counts. They really need to fight and bite hard if they want to continue to the playoffs later on. But I have faith in them. They seem like a really cool friend group. They seem like really, really nice people. I've talked to them a few times, and they are really, really eager and really, really hyped to play in this league and prove themselves. And I feel like for them, it can be a really, really tough challenge to improve to a level where they can actually compete. Um, but yeah, in general, I think they have a really, really nice lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. There's been a lot of Shadow Wizards slander, I've heard, but guys, if you will disrespect this team, they will skedaddle on you, and you know what follows after. How about you, Ed? Dessa?
Definitely, definitely so. And I feel like Shadow Wizards to me is a team that has been a bit of, like we said, not shown the greatest of performances in the show matches, and not a team I personally rate too highly. Like we already said, their solo queue ranks are a bit lower than the average of the league, so definitely gonna be a bit of a, I feel like, learning experience for them. But I feel like this is a team that we shouldn't count out quite yet, because obviously it is SLE, anything can happen. This could be the team that wins it all, but I'm definitely having my doubts when it comes to Split 5.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, there are a lot of teams that I think are beatable for them, and in the end, you just need to secure a playoff spot to have like a longer run than others. So yeah, we will see how that will turn out with their schedule, and we'll go over to the next team, which is also one of the lower teams in the league, the Powder Monkeys, SNC. They are the third team from the Sanctuary organization that was founded by Snackpack and Black Manta. They are also one of the German teams, and they are centered around their mid laner, who Trouble Bubble, who is a former Black Manta substitute in the SLE. They also have elo-wise not the strongest lineup, and they need a lot to improve to a level where they can compete for like the top spots in the league. But I'm really interested to see them play. I know that they are like really excited for the split. They worked really, really hard to get like their team play together and everything. And they actually, which is an insider info that I'm leaking right now, they had a show or not a show match, a scrim today against Project Imperia, the Greek team, which they won 2-0. So that's already like something promising. They have they have like have proven themselves that they can actually win games, and yeah. Um, what do you have to say, Nikas?
I mean, just leaking screams like that. I mean, congratulations for winning a scream, but um, yeah, I got a little bit caught off by that one. Uh, I mean, one of the many German teams joining SLE this split. One of many. Like I'm imagining these teams as like that meme where there's the like white lady, which is like Black Mountain, and then there's like a bunch of monkeys holding hands after them, which is like the rest of the German teams following you guys. But yeah, I'm happy to have them here, and they might not compete for the first place in the regular season, but they can't qualify for playoffs. And once you get in the playoffs, all you need to do is have one amazing series to knock out some of the favorites, and I'm wishing them that as long as it's not against Gucci.
Yeah, might be a little bit rough if it is, but definitely a team that, like you said, can do something. Another German team, which we do have a lot of going to split five, so definitely good to see. And I feel like they are gonna bring a fair bit of healthy competition, and I feel like might even bring some different strats on board. Maybe they have some backroom deals where they potentially they can do to beat out some of these squads. And hey man, if you can't beat them fairly, maybe you lock in some things like Surfing Sona, lock in some of the Cartus and just go ahead and lock in better champions and you just win the game that way. So we'll have to see as they do end up playing their first game in Split 5, but definitely a team that could do anything, honestly.
I feel so as well. But for now, let's go over to the next team, which is Quantify. Quantify had a kind of funny story coming into the split. Like they had their roster already built up with veterans, with Phobos on top lane and Jerry K on jungle. Then they played one show match against the Greasy Goblins where they lost 0-3, and they just decided to completely swap their roster and disband the team that they have built and bring in a new team which looks really good on paper. Um, Quantify actually is an organization that's been founded in early 2023. They feature, I think, like 7 or 8 teams already and have like a big growing community. And that's why they decided, okay, this one team is not working. We will not use this one. We will bring other people in who will be more fit for the league. I'm really excited to see if that was the right decision, if that's a decision that can actually bring them far in the SLE, or if it's in the end something that might even pull them down. What do you guys think?
Well, I definitely think it is something we're gonna have to see. This is, to me, at least, the team that, like you said, made the entire roster swap after being beat in one show match. So definitely gonna have to see if it was the right call that they made or whether they should have just stuck with the original boys, but definitely a team that I feel like can bring a lot to the table and a team that we'll see how they end up starting. I feel like it is gonna tell us a lot about how their split is gonna go, but I would love to see what Mikas has to hear about Quantify.
Yeah, the part where they swapped out roster after winning one show match is maybe a little bit concerning, and I really want to hammer down on the point for newer teams, for newer squads, that losing one game is not everything. When I started playing in SLE with Gucci, we lost the first two of our games in SLE against some strong teams, and yeah, we came back to win the championship. So maybe the early results is not everything, guys. And but that being said, I did not I had no access to their voice comms. I had no access to their team vibe. So maybe it was the right choice to go off, just change it off, to cut the losses and restart the project before the start of the SLE. And who knows? That might be the great general manager decision that we will look back at the end of Split and we'll say that's the moment Quantify turned the things around and became the SLE surprise champions. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see how that will turn out. Either way, no matter if it's a good or a bad decision, it will be talked on about later, and people will be like, "Hey, I told you this was the right or the wrong move." I think they have paved the way for that discussion. But enough with Quantify, and let's go over to the next team, which is the second Vecchivres team, Vecchivres Y. Um, as said before, the team is basically founded around Robbery on jungle and Uzijin on mid lane. They've brought in Kate's mates, who was a substitute for Black Manta, who also played the play-ins last bit on support for Black Manta, a known Cyan OTP. I've heard he's really, really good in scrims from people. And they also brought in a new AD carry with Büttner, one of the most hyped ADCs. One of the people who, like in every stream, you always hear the caster talk, "Oh, Büttner, 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 the new guy, the new ADC." And this team, I think, looks really, really interesting. They have so many upsides. Like they have a lot of really, really high highs on every single position. Um, but they also have lows. For example, on the top lane, you have Kate's mates, who plays a really good Cyan, a really good Volibear. He has like a champion pool of like 3 or 4 champions. But after that, there's not a lot. And if you can play certain champions, if you know already, okay, that guy will play those particular champs, you can counter him beforehand without even using a counter pick and get like a strong matchup there. Also, you have Uzijin, who has like really good moments, has like a lot of games where you see his potential, but he also has those games that earned him the name or the reputation that he has right now. Last split, he had I think like 7 games in a row with like 1-9, 1-8, 2-7, 0-8, something like that as a KD. And we also have seen that in the show match today, like a really good first game, and then game 2 and game 3 had like a lot of deaths and not that much kills. And I think this team really needs to fix their weaknesses and build on the strengths. What do you guys think?
I mean, for me, I feel like it is the early game. We saw, at least earlier, the show match I mentioned where they ended up losing 3-0, and it was K's on the Scion who kind of just got ran over by Zench on the Fiora. And I feel like that's where mainly their issues lie. It is the laning phase, it is the early game, and I feel like if you can fix that up as a team, if they can sort of be able to move past that and maybe clean up some of their early game mistakes, they might be a very competitive team when it comes to split 5, but I feel like if they don't fix that early game, if they don't fix those mistakes that they tend to do, which tends to put them behind, it's gonna be a rough time for them.
They got kind of ran over by the Gucci, but in game 3, they really showed up, and that's the thing that I was talking about. Every next game, they kind of looked a little bit better.
if they can bring the same approach into their practices, into things like that's this like quick progression. Maybe you do get destroyed one game, but as long as you learn from mistakes, as long as you make adaptations, Wacky Weights can be one of the dark horses of Wacky Weights. Why? This is why, right? They
it's
can be
right.
like one of the main forces, one of the dark horses of this tournament, and yeah, I'm looking forward to their star rookie ADC.
Yeah, but enough looks for now for Wacky Brass. We will go over to the next team, which is Silver Phoenix.
Yeah, Silver Phoenix. This is one of those squads, one of the player that has players that have been playing in leagues all around this Discord League of Legends community. They have played a lot in like leagues like Matrix League. I think even in they have had some appearances in CWL. Some other players have played in NLC as well. So they have tons of experience, but they have not played in SLE before. Other than I think their top laner Flow, who played I think for PR for the Rift with the Brady's team. That being said, this team, I think they have quite a lot of expectations from them for themselves. They can be one of the top teams, but they just might get a little bit of a reality check once they face some of the stronger teams in SLE. Maybe they won't. Maybe they are as good as I think they expect themselves to expect from themselves. But, I think that their captain Topaviti told me is that their top laner Floaty is the star player, and among all of these top laners in SLE, I think top lane is very stacked role right now. But he's confident that he will smash the entire top lane competition and get that top lane MVP. So lots of pressure on Floaty, lots of expectations. I'm very excited to see what this guy can do in top lane.
Yeah, I mean that those are big words. But I also agree that like the top lane is really stacked this split, which it wasn't historically in the SLE. Usually it was like 2 or 3 top laners. Like in split 3, you had like Captain Kodhatsi and Linus. In split 4, you had I think it was mainly Arndt and Tsubako Tako, which is not how you pronounce his name, but who are like at the top of like their role. And right now, I think you have like 7, 8, 9 top laners who like all are in the run for like the best top laner of the split, which is really exciting. And I'm really excited to see how Silver Phoenix will do. I personally wouldn't rank them as high as you did, Mikas, or as they do themselves. I think they will most likely be more a middle of the pack team. But of course, I will also take my words back if they prove me wrong. So what do you think, Dessa?
I definitely think we should make sure we clip that moment so when they do end up smashing, Linus can go back on his word officially. But yeah, definitely. I feel like a very similar story when it comes to them and Enlan. I feel like those are both two teams that just have, like Mika said, a buttload of just experience when it comes to playing together and when it comes to playing, like you said, around these League of Legends tournaments. So definitely, like we said, never played in SLE before. It's gonna be a bit of a mystery, a bit of a question mark when it comes to this team. And I'm just excited to see what they can bring to the table, if it can potentially be something new, and if it can potentially be another contender for that top lane pool that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. But let's go over to the next team, which is one of the 2 teams that we saw today play in a show match. By the way, I've seen it in chat like 2 or 3 times. Yes, that was the last show match for this split. Show matches are basically just a way to generate hype for the community to get to know some of the teams and players. So we will have no more since the split starts basically tonight. But yeah, Black Lotus Esports. When I first saw the team and when I first thought about the roster, I thought, yeah, this team will most likely fight their lives off to even get into playoffs. But when I looked a bit deeper into it and looked at the roster a bit more and talked to few people who know the players a bit more, um, I really got the feeling this team could be really, really good. And they've kind of proven that in the show match today. Like game one, they were beaten by Veki Res, and I thought, okay, this will be a 3-0. But then especially their mid laner Gloomix stepped up, and the team just came back and won two games, went 2-1 against a team that's already known in the SLE and have made a name for themselves. And I think this team could be like a sleeper team, a dark horse. What do you guys think?
I personally would definitely agree. I do feel like we saw a lot of promise, like you said in the show much earlier, and could be that when the split does begin, they are one of the teams that sort of rise up through those ranks, rise up through the other teams, get through the cracks, and potentially become one of the teams we end up talking about to contest some of these higher teams, contest the Gucci gangs, contest the wacky raids, and potentially become one of, if not the top teams. So definitely feel like they are going to have a lot to bring to the table when it does come to the split five. And that show match is what brought me so much excitement when it comes to this team.
A lot of excitement indeed, but not. I'm still not sold. Yes, Gloomix did go absolutely. Had an insane performance on that Kali. Yes, they did defeat the Wacky Rates Y squad, but uh, I'm not sure if it show it. If what does it tell? Is Black Lotus a dark horse, or is Wacky Rates maybe they can underperform in any day against any opponent? Who knows? It's yet to see. We will definitely see that in round one of SLE.
Definitely, but what we will not see is their logo for anymore, because we will go over to the next team, which is basically Revel Links. What do you have to say regarding that, Dessa?
So Rebel Links is a team that is gonna be a first time in SLE, and this is a team that originally got put together to compete in a local Estonian tournament, which unfortunately did end up falling through and sort of meant that it wasn't gonna happen, which is where they were sort of looking around, seeing, oh, what tournaments are there to join? Stumbled upon SLE and were like, why not? We have this squad together. We might as well give this a shot. And being an Estonian team as well is very close to my heart. Being Finnish myself means that I'm very close to Estonia. So definitely, I'm sort of hoping that they perform. I'm hoping for their success. And the current roster they have played together for over a bit more than a month. So definitely not as much experience as some of these other teams do end up bringing. And the jungler and the ADC both been on the roster ever since April, and mainly just it is their manager, it is the coach that I feel like is gonna be driving the team. Does have a lot of experience behind his back, has coached a numerous amount of Baltic teams that have been Master Plus before in 2020 and 2021. So definitely a lot of experience binding on him, and I truly do hope when it does come to Revel Links that they perform. I do hope that they become a team of contention, become a team that we end up talking about, and sort of become a team that surprises everybody.
Yeah, I feel so too. I think Revelings is one of the teams or the new teams, the newcomers that I have a bit higher on my list. I'm really excited to see their energy, see if they can bring anything like really, really strong into the SRE. I feel like it's always a benefit if you have like five players from the same country who have like the same mother tongue. It always makes it easier to communicate in game, but also communicate around the games, like figure out solutions for problems. And I'm really excited to see the Estonian team play. As someone who's living close to Estonia, Mikas, what do you have to say?
They're an Estonian team. That is so cool. All the love to my Estonian brothers from Latvia. Yeah, very happy to have you guys here, and I think they as well are one of the kind of underdogs. Maybe I think they're posting a pretty good squad, and yeah, one of the teams that I'm like I'm biased, of course, towards Gucci, and I'm kind of I don't want to see Gucci teams against Rival Links in the round one. I want to see them against someone else so I can judge their level of gameplay before.
I think Miko's legged out here, which is not a problem. I think we'll go over to the next team then. Sad to
Did
hear
I?
that. Oh yeah, okay, now you're back. Then you can finish your sentence.
I will say for my part, I did hear Mikos throughout his entire sentence, but
Oh yeah, you did?
yeah,
Twitch,
I think
did you hear?
Oh
yeah, I
man.
think it might have just been you.
Oh man. Yeah, then the stream didn't hear you as well though.
Oh no,
Oh no.
it's
Okay.
okay.
Okay, didn't
Mikos
listen
can
anyways.
just
Let's just go forward.
Okay, let's go forward and just ignore this. From Revelings to a different team with an R at the beginning of the name. Ragnarok with this logo. Again, a team where I don't know what I think about the logo, but yeah. Ragnarok is one of the more interesting teams of the split. I've actually talked to the team leader a bit, and he've told me that like they're have like the top lane, mid lane, and support is like the core of the team who've known themselves for many years now. With the jungler and the ADC coming also into the mix a while ago. They've actually, as a team, decided to go to the MSI finals this year, where they meet in person for the first time. They have a lot of people from like Ireland and the British Isles, and like they have a really strong identity. Like they've are as a unity. They know themselves. They are friends with each other, which is something I think always helps. Because you can laugh off the losers and find a strong solution together to grow further. They actually have one veteran of the split, which is just Ryan. I think he's playing Jungler for them. Um, but yeah, I think this team is really interesting. To see. I think they have the potential to be a middle of the table team. I personally rank them a bit lower, like fighting for the playoff spots, the lower playoff spots. But what do you guys think?
I personally always love to see when sort of video games and the world of gaming spills out into the real life. And I love to hear, and it is good to see that these guys are sort of getting together in real life, seeing what they are like. And I feel like it is gonna, like you said, give them a lot more unity. It's gonna give them a lot more strength. I feel like as a team, individually, I feel like they're not one of the strongest teams that we are gonna see when the split begins. So I think this is another one of those teams. This is another one of those times, another one of those stories where time will tell.
Yep, I love their logo. It's a very pretty picture, and yeah, and I also love the anime called Ragnarok, and I also like Just Ryan. I have only good experiences with the guy, and I'm gonna be supporting this team.
Great to hear that you like the anime Ragnarok. But yeah, let's go over to the next team, which is the second team from the EONE servers.
Beast Team Europe. This is, I feel like to me, a team that is gonna be pretty strong. At least when it comes to some of the newer teams. Obviously, it's gonna, I feel like, take a bit more time for all these newer teams to sort of come together and be able to compete at the level that is SLE, to compete at the level that is the level that is SLE between some of these other teams. But definitely, I feel like from some of the games I did see, I did try to watch them. They do play for another league. Unfortunately, I don't have the name of that league in mind at the moment, but I did end up watching a couple of their games, and they do like to play through their jungle. They like to play through Shiro Tenshi up in that jungle role, and like to play aggressive in the early game as well. So it's gonna be, I feel like, good to see whether that aggression is gonna pay off, whether the early aggression is gonna be the way, or whether we see a shift in play style once they do end up playing some of those first games. Because that aggressive play style, I feel like if you are in a newer league, if you are in a league that you are unknown, and you are playing as players that you don't know, is can be pretty scary, especially when you don't know the play styles. And being another team from EUNE is gonna be hailing that EUNE flag and gonna be one of the teams or two teams that answers the question whether it is EU West or EUNE once and for all.
Yeah, and I for once have to say this is a really great logo. I love it. Um, but also I think the team like from Poland, they're all from, um, is really exciting. They are like also one of the underdogs who will basically bring their own story um into the league. They have always the storyline of being the EUNE, the Polish team with them. Whatever happens, it will always be talked about. And I think they are proud of that. I think it's something that they wave in front of them, that they keep with them, and that fuels their gameplay, and that will eventually maybe even have them see like finish at the top spots of the league. What do you think, Mikas?
They could, but again, they're EU Nordic East team, so they will have to prove themselves first. I do respect them coming in here. They just checking their champion, their OPGGs and stuff like that. It looks like they have quite a wide champion pools, and they have players. Yeah, they can play many styles. Yeah, I'm very excited to cast their game actually and try to say Inshallah like their jungler the whole time.
Yeah. But yeah, enough with Beast Team Europe. We have two more teams actually. We are at team number 21 now, which are the Slim Odds, not Slime Odds. A lot of people have called them Slime Odds, me including. But they are actually Slim Odds, which I think is a bit not as cool as Slime Odds. But yeah.
I would have definitely preferred Slime Mods. I feel like it would have been so much funnier of a name, but this is another team that is new to SLE. And this is another team that have their, I think, work cut out for them. They said themselves, I did talk to the captain a little bit, and they said it themselves. They are diving into unfamiliar territory. They are new to the league, and currently don't at least hold any expectations when it comes to Split 5. They have been competing in other leagues and have been, a, as a team, as a 5, in a lot longer than some of the newer teams that are coming in. The org they are coming from is about 4 years old, but some of their players are a lot newer to the team than others, and their team captain has a lot of experience behind them. This is a man that has been running teams for 7 years, give or take, and Slim Odds itself became a team about 4 years ago. It is a friend group. It is 5 people who just love League of Legends. It is 5 people who love spending time with each other. And they said, screw it. If we're gonna playing together, we might as well participate in some leagues. Stumbled upon SLE, and to me, like we said earlier with the other teams as well, being a friendship group, being 5 people who you already know beforehand before entering SLE, just gives you so much of an advantage. It means that you can, even if you lose, just laugh it off and move on to the next one. And it also means that it is another team that I am very, very excited to see once Split 5 does begin, and once that round one that they might potentially get drafted into. And depending on the team that they are up against, I'm I'm hoping big things.
I mean, that sounds really, really cool. In general, those teams who are friends with each other, like they always are the ones that I value a bit higher than they might be valued by other people. Just because I know from myself from Black Manta how much it can mean if you're really like friends with everyone, if you know each other like for a long time. And even though they have chosen Slim Odds as their name and not Slime Odds, I still root for them. Like they are one of the teams that I secretly root for. And yeah, Mikas, what do you think?
Absolutely agree. Their odds might be quite slim, but I am a fan of the crabs, and it looks like Twitch chat is absolutely losing it, being fans of the crabs as well. So yeah, I love the logo and excited to see this team on the Rift.
Yeah, me too. But for now, let's go over to the last team, which is one of the more well-known teams in the league, Primordials. Mikas, it's your turn.
Another one of legacy teams in SLE, Primordials, playing for their third split. And every single time you underrate Primordials, they show up and they play well. Season 3, everyone thought that they're not going to be even a playoff team. They won't do anything in a lane and rated them quite low. They showed up instantly. I think they defeated Eternal Blizzard in the plains, and then they won the Division 2 championship and had a solid showing in playoffs as well. Then season 2, everyone said that this team does not deserve an automatic Division 1 slot, and what did they do? They performed. They took some games off of some highly rated teams, and they qualified for playoffs again. Ahlefeld got the most kills in the entire league, and yeah, again, they were a team to be careful from, the team to respect. This season, they have made an absolute role swap. Every single player is playing a different role. This time, they still have the same roster, but they're playing different roles. Um, and I am sitting, underrating them again, thinking that this is a terrible idea and that they won't perform in this SLE split after this role swap. And I feel like Primordials just might prove me wrong yet again. And yeah, I'm kind of a little bit scared to predict that they won't do that great, but that's yet to be seen.
Yeah, and like they are one of my favorite teams. Like I love their people. Like I've had a lot of good experiences with them. They're really, really nice. They are all from Denmark. Um, and they have had this roster, those exact 5 players for the third split now. I think no other team has had the same roster for 3 splits in a row. And even with the role swaps, they are all recognizable. Also, I think like as a former Division 2 title winner, and also as a team that has reached playoffs in both of their runs so far, um, like they are one of the most exciting teams, and I really hope to see that we will have them like prove everyone who doubts them again that they are in fact one of the top teams or the better teams in the league, and that they will reach playoffs for the third time now. What do you think, Tessa?
I definitely hope so, and God, it scares me so much to say anything negative about Primordials because every time you do, they just end up striking back twice as hard. And I feel like that's gonna be the main thing when it comes to Primordials. When you play against them, do not underestimate this team. Do not even think that they're not gonna perform because every time you say that, every time you think they're not gonna perform, they just end up coming out and absolutely swinging. And one of the teams that, like you said, being former Division 2 title winners gives them, I feel like, a lot of credibility as well. And it's gonna be interesting to see how these role swaps come through, whether it is gonna be a story of this is what they needed to win SLE, or whether this is what actually just drove them down and this is what's gonna make them one of the bottom teams.
Yeah. But for now, let's go over to a different topic. We have talked about every of the 22 teams. It's been like an hour. Um, but yeah, now as the next thing, we actually have our schedule or more our format. Wait, that was the wrong one. Here, we have our format, which will be explained by our favorite trial mod, Jomi.
Hello. It's been nice listening to you guys talk about all the teams, watching the chat at least. I'll be going through the changes we've made to the format and the scheduling for next split. So hopefully everything will be clear and easy to understand. But we'll see. If there's any questions, just feel free to write them. And I hope my microphone is okay, because I will be talking for quite a while now. So, but yeah, we've made quite a few changes. I know at least some of them we've already announced, like we're switching to a Swiss format, and I wanted to take some time to discuss why we made a change, not just what the changes are. So to recap how the last split worked, we started with a play-in stage where we played a Swiss format. We played 6 games over 2 days, and you can see the results on stream now. The top 5 teams qualified for Division 1. The bottom 5 teams qualified for Division 2, and the teams in the middle at 3 wins, 3 losses played a tiebreaker to see who would get into Division 1. If you can jump to the next slide, yeah. And here we have the Division 2 results. We had, in the end, Black Manta and White Tigers Esports winning after a fairly short tournament. So this playoffs were done before Division 1 regular stage had finished, if you want to show that one too. Here we have the 8 top teams from Division 1 who qualified for the playoffs, and the bottom 2 who did not. And we also had Black Manta and White Tigers Esports joining. I didn't actually have a picture of the Season 4 playoffs, so you'll have to look at a Season 3 playoff picture instead. But the format was essentially the same. We had a double elimination and culminating in, a single grand final best of 5. And I think some things with the previous format were very good. We had a very exciting play-in tournament where I think a lot of teams felt it was very exciting playing 6 games in 2 days and watching the draws, seeing their opponents, seeing what teams are performing, what teams are not performing. And I think also allowing Division 2 to finish their own playoff and then joining Division 1 after was set up some nice storylines. We saw both Black Manta and White Tigers being very competitive with Division 1 teams. On the flip side, while the play-in format or tournament was exciting, there were also a few teams who were unable to play with their full squad, and I think some teams felt it was a bit unfair. We also had a big issue with teams leaving as soon as it became clear that they weren't gonna qualify for playoffs. We saw 5 out of 8 possible Division 2 teams leaving before playoffs, and we saw both of the Division 1 teams that did not qualify for playoffs, they forfeited the season before it was over. And there will be quite a lot of text on the screen. You don't have to read all of it. I will recap it as well, but just so you can just go through the slides yourselves if you want to check anything. You don't have to actually listen to me if you prefer that. And now I'm going to go through what we changed compared to last split. So as you know, there will be a Swiss stage. I will be simulating a tournament. You can see 22 teams I've created on screen right now. If you want to pick out a favorite, you can pick one of my lovely team names here. And for the first round, they will all be randomly drawn. So everyone will get a random opponent. We will do that after I finish talking about the schedule. We will do it live on stream. And then, depending on who wins and loses, we will draw another round. So the way this first round worked was actually perfect. We had 6 teams going 2-0. We had 10 teams tying 1-1. And we had 6 teams going 0-2. That means the 6 teams at 0-2 could all play against each other. The 10 teams at 1-1 could all play against each other. And the 6 teams at 2-0 could all play against each other. But after the second round, we had to have a bit of an issue. This will happen when we are playing 2. So essentially, we have one team who are 4-0, and they can't play a different team that's 4-0 because there's no other teams with the same score. The same is true for the 19th place, who are 1-3. So in this example, the Nasty Narwhals, who are 4-0, will play against the Vapid Vipers, who are 3-1. And the Tappy Tapirs will play against the Rowdy Rats. But since they've gotten a hard matchup, the teams will get a better tiebreaker if that happens, but we will go over the tiebreakers later. So here we have another round I've simulated. Now we can keep going. If you want to go to the next slide, Linus. Yeah. So after that round, we have yet again 2 lopsided matchups. Nasty Narwhals, they're still easily at the front. So they have to play against the 5-1 team. The same at the bottom. We only have one 0-6 team. And if we keep going, we'll simulate a few more rounds until we end up with, I think, the next slide. Yeah. So in this situation, we have the Great Gorillas and the Rowdy Rats. Only have 2 wins. They are pretty bad. They're at the bottom, but they've already played against each other. So they will not be allowed to play against each other again. So both of these teams will be drawn against a 4-6 team instead of a 2-8 team. And we'll see a few more rounds until we... And here's the scores then, before the last round. We see Nasty Narwhals and Queasy Quails at top. I think at the bottom we still have the Great Gorillas and Rowdy Rats, yeah. And this means there are a lot of lopsided matchups in the last round. Because at this point, most of the top teams have played all of the other top teams. Most of the bottom teams have already played all of the bottom teams. So we have, for example, a 14-2 team, the Nasty Narwhals, playing against the 10-6 Kooky Kangaroos. Or 6-10 Vapid Vipers playing against the 2-16 Great Gorillas. But yeah, if we can simulate the last round as well, we will end up with our standings. So here we have the 22 teams. And we will have 16 of them enter playoffs, which is a lot of teams. Now we'll go into why we chose that many teams later on. But yeah, the top 16 teams will go into a playoff qualification, which is 2 single elimination rounds, best of 5, where if you stay on the last slide a bit. So the first seed will play against the 16th seed, second seed against the 15th seed, etc. Meaning, even if it's a single elimination in the next stage, you will still be heavily rewarded for getting a top spot in the regular season. And we also see at the bottom here, we have 4 teams who are just eliminated because they don't have enough wins. And then we have the Extravagant Elephants and Unique Wakaris who are eliminated despite having the same amount of wins as a couple of other teams. Now with that, we can go into some of the tiebreakers. So if you are tied with another team, even if it's for a playoff spot or if it's for the first spot, third spot, we will use these tiebreakers. We will not play a single tiebreaker. Mostly because we're already where we want to keep the league fairly short this time, so we don't go over Christmas. So the tiebreakers will be first, your head-to-head score against the other teams you are tied against. If you are tied with one other team, but you beat them the one time you played against each other, then you win the tiebreaker. The second tiebreaker is median book holds, essentially your strength of schedule. If you played against better teams or teams that ended up with a better score in the end, then you will get a better book hold score. And on the other side, if you played against a lot of weak teams who did not end up playing or scoring very well, then you end up with a pretty bad tiebreaker. The third tiebreaker, which I'm fairly certain we will not get to, is the amount of matches you forfeited. And then the absolute last one will be lowest average game time in your wins. I'm hoping it doesn't come to that, because then we will have to do a lot of work going through match histories. After the first best of 5, we will have our second round. The winner of the first seed versus 16th seed will play against the winner of the 8th seed versus the 9th seed. So essentially, if you get first seed in the regular stage, the best opponent you'll have to beat to qualify for the top 4 will be the 8th best team in the regular season. So again, you are heavily rewarded for finishing high in the regular season, even if there's no double elimination yet. We'll get to that with the next slide. So yeah, so here we have the playoff qualification I simulated. Most of the teams won who you would expect. The only upset we had was the 11 seed Pretty Penguins. They actually went all the way, and they're now in the top 4. which means they take over the. If you go back, Linus. Yeah, so the Pretty Penguins, they entered as the 11th seed, but they beat the 3rd seed to qualify for the final stage, meaning they get to enter the final stage as 3rd seed. So in the end, we have Nasty Narwhals, Squeezy Quails, and Upeg Otters keeping their seed, while the Pretty Penguins went from 11th seed to 3rd seed into the last stage. And the last stage will be a double elimination, best of 5, where the 1st seed plays the 4th seed, 2nd versus the 3rd, which means we will actually have some double elimination games too, not just single elimination. If you go to the next slide, I've simulated this stage as well. We see the Nasty Narwhals dropping to the losers bracket, but they actually end up clawing their way back and winning the grand finals. So that's pretty exciting. I'm not sure which team you guys were rooting for, Savage and Dessa, but were you disappointed?
Rooting for the concrete crocodiles.
Yeah.
I had my eyes on the number 9. So
Yeah.
but
Only one team can win, you know. I see some
unfortunately,
people yelling rigged in the chat, but yeah. I'm hoping that was clear. If it's not, feel free to send your questions and I'll answer them later, or you can open a ticket if not. But yeah, we have a few more slides I want to get through. So why did we go with this format? So like I talked about, the last format had a lot of teams quitting because we had accidentally set up a lot of scenarios where a team didn't feel like they had much to play for yet. A lot of the Division 2 teams were just disappointed they didn't get to Division 1. And some of the weaker Division 1 teams just left once they didn't feel like they had much to play for anymore. With this format, you will get 9 rounds in the Swiss bracket to climb. If you end up losing your first 4 weeks, you'll still have the chance to end up winning the next rounds. So you're not too heavily punished for a bad start. You can still claw your way back up. The fact that we have 16 teams entering the playoffs means that most teams will get a chance to play at least one best of 5, even if it's only a single elimination. And we would have loved to have a double elimination, but it would take way too long for us to have double elimination with 16 teams. And the alternative of only having 8 teams qualify for playoffs also feel pretty bad, like kicking 14 teams after the regular stage, especially when one of the things we're trying to fix this split is letting teams have something to play for the entire time and not just leave when they get a bad start. But even if it is single elimination, you still get heavily rewarded for doing well in the Swiss. So I'm hoping we end up with some exciting and fair gameplay and matchups. And I think that's all I had prepared, at least. But I'm sure there are some questions. If you have, you can ask them in the chat, or you can open a ticket. I'm not sure if
Yeah, so
Yep.
so the key takeaways for me is that so since it's a Swiss system, you won't need to play every single team. You will just get matched against the team you play based on your results.
Yeah.
And the second part is that the playoffs is going to be very, very exciting and very big.
Yeah. We might have some big upsets in the single elimination round. We'll probably feel a bit shit if you fall in the single elimination stage, but we think this is a format that allows most teams to have something to play for the entire time instead of dropping out.
Yeah, I
Alright.
also personally think that it's really exciting to not know who you will play in next week most of the times. And it's always, okay, which will be the team that we face next? So yeah, there was the question in chat, how many rounds? We will have 9 rounds of Swiss stage, 9 weeks, which are always 2 games. It's always a best of 2, with each team playing each side once, one side blue, one time blue side, one time red side. And after that, we have 2 weeks of single elimination and 4 weeks of double elimination, which means we have a total of 15 weeks, which will actually mean that the week where the grand finale is, or final is from the 11th of December to the 17th of December. So we will, of course, be done before Christmas. So yeah, and with that being said, we will go over to the next point, which a lot of people waited for. We've been asked many times in the chat to go over towards this step, which is drawing the first matches. And I think we will just hit the wheel for the first time now and see which will be the first team that we will have on here, which is basically Shadow Wizard Gaming.
Oh, boys.
Oh boy. Yeah, Shadow Wizard Gaming. We've heard it a few times now. This team is like, I don't know, one of the teams a lot of people mock a bit or make fun of. But what was it, Dessa? What was the words they use?
I think it was skadoodle, you know?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
this
think
is
something like that.
depending on who they go up against, this should be interesting.
Oh, the Blazing Pandas. Oh,
Oh,
that's a really, really hard one for the first game. That's a really, really hard one. Yeah,
Rigged.
that's actually. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. Here, that's the right one. Wait, let me just fix that real quick. Oh no, it's rigged. But yeah, you can already start talking about it, guys. What do you think?
yeah,
What's your prediction?
Mikas, why don't you go ahead and take it away, since you had a lot to say about the Blazing Pandas.
This is rigged because Blazing Pandas needed to go to Scrim. Totally rigged. Then, on serious note, not rigged draws this time. There might have been some rigged incidents later before. Blazing Pandas, one of the worst teams to draw for Shadow Wizard Gaming, and I think Blazing Pandas are a massive, massive favorite in this matchup.
Yeah, I also feel like
definitely
that.
agree.
Yeah, Dessa?
I would definitely agree. I feel like this is definitely one that Blazing Pandas should be able to take over with relative ease, but again, anything can happen. It is League of Legends. So, Linus, what do you think?
I mean, I was really rooting for the Shadow Wizards. I know that I put them last in the power ranking, but I always thought they can upset. And with a good draw, maybe start with like some fresh 2-0 air into the SLE. Blazing Pandas, of course, is like a really, really hard matchup. I have Blazing Pandas as one of the top teams in the league. They have many players who are really, really good. Sanix, for example, like last split, he started kind of weak with kind of shaky performances, but he got so good at the end. And this team is really, really strong. And for me, my prediction for this game will be a 2-0 for Blazing Pandas. What do you guys think?
2-0.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be a unanimous vote, boys. I feel like it should be a 2-0 for the Pandas. I feel like this should be relatively easy for them to take away.
Yeah, but let's go over to the next match. So yeah, should I spin the wheel? Should I? I will do it. Okay, which will be the next matchup? Oh, Project Imperia, our Greek team. Is there any particular team you guys want to see facing Project Imperia?
Ooh, I mean, I wish for a EUNE versus EUNE matchup, but I don't know about Mikas.
Yeah, the Polish team. I would want to see them going against
Yeah.
Against Project Imperia. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be a pretty cool one to see who is the front runner for EUNE. And we will have another new team with Interstellar Aquila, one of the stronger teams in my eyes. This is also a really, really hard matchup for Project Imperia, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, let me just switch over. Okay, it's already. Let me just switch over. And yeah, what do you guys think about this matchup?
Mikas, I'm gonna let you go ahead.
It's a great series for Interstellar. I went to kind of show their level. I said that they're a team that is full with young players, and it's good for them to not be drawing someone that's would expectedly just run them over, like maybe G teams or Vitagen or something like that. So this is a very well contested matchup, and It will say a lot about both teams. If they can take the other one down in a convincing fashion, they will jump in the power rankings. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel so as well. Um, but yeah, what is your prediction, guys? What would you say?
Oh, I feel like I'm gonna side with Interstellar on this one. I
You're
feel like
saying 2-0 for Interstellar?
yeah, I feel like when it comes to these two matchups, Interstellar to me does look like the stronger team going into this.
Yeah, I feel so as well. I will also give it a 2-0. And you, Mikas?
It's a best of two or best of three?
It's two games, two games.
Yeah, two games. I will give it a split. 1-1. Yeah, 1-1. It's gonna go 1-1.
All right. Then we will go over to the wheel again and see our next team. I think it's always the most exciting thing when you basically don't have the first team yet. But yeah, let's see who we get here. We have. Is it Ragnarok or Beast Teams? It's Ragnarok. Ragnarok, one of the more exciting teams. Is there any particular team you guys want Ragnarok to face?
I feel like when it comes to Ragnarok, I don't think there's a particular matchup I personally am looking out for. But Mikas, do you have any teams that you personally want to see?
Against any other of the CCG rivals would be a pretty fun matchup. So anyone who's played from CCG teams like Blazing Bonds, but they already don't. So matchup wells.
Okay. Then let's see who actually will be Ragnarok's first opponent. It's Good Chi Yang. Oh my god, it's Good Chi Yang. Guys, what do you think about this matchup? Is it a good matchup for Ragnarok or rather a hard one?
I mean, I'll be honest. I feel like any team that was gonna go up against Gucci was gonna have a difficult and a tough matchup. But this is definitely, I feel like, gonna be a rough one. And I honestly, I think if I go into 1-1.
Oh, I
1-1.
1-1 is that's a big statement there. I actually don't think it will be a 1-1. I think Ragnarok will have a good fight in those games, but I think Gucci will actually take a 2-0 victory. What do you think, Mikas, as a former Chi player?
Gucci Yang has prepared a lot for these games. They have shown a lot in the show matches, and I think they have a massive advantage in this matchup. So it's gonna be 2-0 for Gucci Yang.
2-0 for Gucci Yang. All right, then let's go over to the wheel again, which I think everyone is waiting for me to spin so their team can actually be drawn and they can already see, okay, this is our next opponent. And the team who is about to wander right this is Revel Lynx. The Estonian team. Is there any team you guys want to see Revel Lynx face early on? Or like is it kind of whoever they face? What do you think, Mikas?
For me, for these teams that I don't know that much about, I like if they draw another team that I don't know that much about. For example, Quantify's team is like quite unproven, so if they could draw something like that, it could tell me a lot more about the level of these teams.
Yeah, then let's just jump into their first opponent, or their opponent for week one, which is there. You got your newcomer to face Revelings, which is Enlon Esports. Do you
Mhm.
already know who you favor in that matchup, Mikas?
I do not, and that's why. Actually, no, I'll favor my Estonian brothers. Rival Links will take this 2-0.
You think that will be a 2-0 for the Estonian team? Dessa, what's your take on this?
I'm gonna have to agree with Mikas here. I feel like it is gonna be a 2-0 for the Estonian team, and to me, it just comes down to them, being a friend group, playing together, and I feel like it gives them such a big advantage that they're gonna be able to take it.
Yeah, I really try to not be biased here. because if I would just look at the logo, like I love the logo of Revel Links, even though I think the established 2022 is a bit early to put it on the logo, but it's fine. I think this logo is really, really great. While the logo of Enlan Esports, I mean, I've said it before, I hate it. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's just 4 letters. But yeah, I will still go with a 1-1 here. And I think both of these teams will fight really, really hard and go into week 2 then as one of the teams that we will be really excited to see. But yeah, let's go to the wheel of names to see whoever will be our next team for the next matchup. Okay, it will be Primordials. Primordials is one of the more seasoned teams of the league. Does any of you have like a matchup in mind that you really want to see, that you want to have them play in round 1?
We
Honestly,
have. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I would love to see Villagen. That to me would seem like a really interesting matchup. But what do you think, Nicholas?
For evenly matched, maybe something like Black Lotus, I think would be a pretty good matchup, or Bilby's team esport. But Gucci has a lot of experience playing against them, so against Primordials. So I would like another chapter in the book of Gucci versus Primordials.
Actually, it will be the there we have it again. Slime, not slim, but yeah, we have the slim odds, who will actually come in and take on Primordials. I actually think this is a good, well balanced matchup. What do you guys think? Is this something that you wish for, Mikas?
Yeah, exactly that. I really like these evenly balanced
Oh God.
matchups. But this will change a lot, once one of the teams like wins dominantly, so then it won't feel that balanced eventually anymore. But yeah, both teams have rosters that know each other really well, a bunch of friends. So very great matchup to open up this SLE.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited to see this one. I think this will be really, really exciting. I actually have to be away from my microphone for like 1 or 2 minutes. So if you guys could add something important to say or maybe answer questions. If you guys have questions, just put them in the chat right now and we will continue with the drawing in a bit.
Yeah,
Oh,
Nicholas, what do you think about the matchup that we have in front of us here? Is there any special thoughts?
Not really. Yeah, I'm excited to see how Primordials look after the big role swaps. They used to be a very, very respectable team, especially the big carry for them, Alefeld in the jungle. But now he's playing support, which is like the least carry full role in the game. So yeah, interested about that one. And also, it's very funny that Linus just keeps calling him them slime odds. It's so random.
Wasn't it Linus who made a big point as well about them being slim odds instead of slime odds?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
actually
but I
did.
mean, I guess.
I'm actually back. I
Yeah.
did. But yeah, you can finish your sentence, Mikas, and then we will go over to the next drawing. I
No,
think.
it's finished. It's finished. We can draw.
It's finished. Okay, then we go directly to the next drawing. To remove slim odds from like the pool. We don't have that much teams left, but we yet have to see Wacky Vress against Wacky Vress.
That's what I'm hoping
And
for.
it's my old team. It's Black Manta SNC. Okay, guys, who do you want to see against Black Manta?
It would be funny to see them face against Vitigen and then sub you in or something, but it would be pretty brutal as well. So maybe one of the. Actually, no, I don't want to see them against one of the SNC squads. Put them against something like Black Lotus Esports for a good matchup.
I feel like honestly, anything but a Gucci squad, just because I still want to see Gucci versus Gucci. Or not,
No,
sorry, I
no.
meant the Wacky Race versus Wacky Race. So yeah, I honestly any of the teams, any of the teams.
Okay, then let's see who faces Black Manta. It will actually be Beasts Team Esports. I think that's a pretty okayish drawing for them, a pretty doable first matchup. What do you guys think?
I mean, yeah, I feel so, and I feel like it's gonna be, in my opinion, a 1-1. But Mikas, what's your prediction?
I think Black Mountain has a lot of veteran voices in that team, and even though they are losing Linus and Elrat, I think at the early stages of the tournament they have what it takes to take down some of these rookie teams. 2-0.
Okay. Yeah, I can't stab my boys in the back, even though I'm not a player of the team anymore. Of course, my heart still lies with Black Manta, and I will just give them the 2-0 in my prediction. I believe in them, and I believe that they can do it here. But yeah, let's go over to our next drawing. You see, we don't have this many teams left, and yeah, I think I've not removed Beast's team esports, so I will just do it manually. Um, my favorite drawing of those would be Vecchivres Y against Vecchivres X. What about you guys?
Ooh, I definitely want to see the two Wacky Raids teams go up against each other.
And there we have the Vecchivres X team. Everyone can call it rigged if we now draw Vecchivres Y.
Yeah, do it.
Do it. Okay, let me just go into it and let's see if it's actually rigged or sadly not, because I would love to see this matchup.
Aw, damn.
Okay, so it's actually the snack pack, which will be playing. Okay, I've not put them on here yet. Which will be playing. Okay, what the fuck is happening? Just give me a moment here. Which will be playing snack pack. What do you guys think about this matchup?
All German matchup interesting to see if Wacky Raids have what it takes to take on the snack pack, but I think it's an absolute mismatch and snack pack will dominate.
I hate to be just like, no like opinions interacting with each other, but I definitely agree. I do feel like it is gonna be a snack tech show, and I feel like Wacky Rates might regret stepping on the snack.
Okay, I will actually not just follow along and be like, yeah, 2-0. I don't know if you guys remember, or if anyone in chat remembers, but last split, when Wacky Vress faced against Snackpack in Division 1 in week 2, it was such a banger match. Like, it was 1-1. They finished 1-1. Both games were like really, really, really competitive with like players like Cupcake and Spilka on ADC, or Sushi Killer and Lena on mid lane. Like, they were just everyone was playing their best game in that series, and it was so awesome to watch. And I have a feeling it will be like this again. It will be a 1-1. That's my call for it.
Ooh, 1-1, fair enough.
But yeah, not that much teams left anymore. Let's go and see if we draw the Gucci team now. I shouldn't have said it.
There
Now
we
everyone
go.
thinks we are we are rigging
Rigged.
it. It's
Yeah,
all
you guys
rigged.
can feel free to call in chat now. Feel free.
Vitagen. Vitagen.
Why, yeah, Vitagen would be a banger actually in week 1.
Give us Vitagen. Please give us Vitagen.
That would be like, I don't know, the Classico of the league. But no, it will be Vecchivres Y. Which is actually something that I'm really happy about. I know a lot of the Vecchivres Y players personally. Actually, their mid laner Uzujin is like sitting in my apartment right now on the couch, probably eating pizza or something. So this is actually, oh no, that's the wrong logo. Oh no, it's the right logo. It's Gucci. No, it's Gucci Yang. It's the wrong logo. My bad.
Yeah, it's Gucci Young.
Let me go over to Gucci Yin. So yeah, what do you guys think about this matchup? We just had it a few days ago, by the way.
Yeah, and it looked a little bit one-sided to me. I'm gonna have to drop a quick 2-0 on the young boys. But Mikas, what do you think? You gonna agree with me on this one or not?
I'm so sad we just had matchup. This kind of like takes the hype out of it, and we don't get Vitagen against Gucci, and I can't say anything else than a 2-0 for Gucci over that why.
I mean, I will also go with the 2-0, but I want to add something to this. We had this matchup on Friday, I think it was. Desa, you were casting it. I don't know if you cast it as well, Mikas. I don't think you. Or did you? You did, right?
I-
You
No.
also cast. You
It
you
was
guys
it was me and
casted it
it
together.
was me and Fokuro, no?
Oh no, it was yeah. Never mind. Okay, but we had this matchup already, and it was a 3-0 for Gucci. But the game three, the last game, was so hype, so competitive, and I really hope that we will also see such hype and competitive games. I will also say 2-0 for Gucci though. So yeah, not that much teams
Corky
left
versus
anymore.
Israel, baby.
What did you say?
Corky versus Israel, baby. Like game
Corky
number 3.
versus Ezreal.
Absolute hype.
And we have only 6 teams left. My team Vitagen is still on the line. Let's see who we face. Probably everyone will call it rigged. But yeah, we have
Ooh.
Silver Phoenix. That's an exciting one. I really am wondering who they face. What do you guys think? Who would be a good fit for them for the first round?
Honestly, I feel like the only 2 fair matchups would be Quantify and Powder Monkeys. Ooh, Powder Monkeys.
Yeah, I mean that's a good matchup, I think. Powder Monkeys definitely the team that I would fit them or would think they fit they fit well the most. What do you think, Mikas?
Very good matchup indeed. I do think that Silver Phoenix has a big advantage in this one, but we will get to see how good they are. Even though I do think it's going to be 2-0 for Phoenix. I also think that they do need to make a statement in this game, and if those games are going to be too close, I think it might be a warning sign for team that call themselves as a contenders, the contenders for SLE title.
Yeah, I personally think that the Phoenixes are a bit favored here, but I know that also my boys are from Powder Monkeys are watching here, so I will not give them the 2-0. I will give them the 1-1. I will call for 1-0 in the first game for Phoenix, and game 2, Powder Monkeys will strike back and get their first win in SLE history. What do you think, Dessa?
I think it's gonna be a 1-1. I think this is one of the more even ones we have, or the even matchups we have. And I feel like it's gonna be an absolute brawl between these 2 teams, but I feel like it's gonna be an even brawl.
Okay, then let's go over to our last 2 drawings. Or it's just one drawing basically because the other one is also clear then. And we have Quantify. Do you guys want to see the Quantify against Greasy Goblins rematch or rather not that early? What do you guys think?
It's too early. It is much
No.
too early.
We want them against Black Lotus, and then we want Greasy Goblins against Vitagen for one of the most hype matchups of this round 1.
All right. I actually would love to see see it again though, because it would be so funny if Quantify comes in against
No.
Greasy Goblins again, and everyone is like, yeah, they just swapped their whole roster out because they lost to Greasy Goblins. And then
Yeah,
they
that would be funny, yeah.
either win or lose. Like it will be also a great storyline. But yeah, let's see who faces off. If it's Greasy Goblins, I rig it by the way. But yeah, it's Black Lotus, and
There we go.
that means we have actually Vitagen against Greasy Goblins as the first matchup. Are you happy, Mikas?
Of course, I'm happy. We will get to see the Greasy Goblins before their last couple of show matches for me were one of the contenders. Right now, their hype is a little bit derailed. But I remember Panini face off against Dutch in the previous split of SLE, and Panini took that matchup confidently, out jungling Dutch and winning 2-0 for Gucci back then. So Yeah, I think this is a very well matched teams, and my money is that Greasy Goblins can take at least one game off of Vitigen, and could be actually 2-0 for Greasy Goblins.
Okay, I mean we are still talking about Black Lotus against Quantify first though, but yeah, thank you for your input again regarding the Vitigen matchup. What do you think about the Black Lotus against Quantify matchup though? What's your take on that?
Mine?
Yeah,
Uh, I think the fact that yeah, Quantify's roster is just freshly swapped will bring them a little bit of issues early. That being said, I am happy that they are facing a team that they can actually challenge, so their team won't fully mental boom again. That could be a 1-1, it could be a 2-0 for either side, but yeah, I think my lack of knowledge about these teams makes it seem close.
what do you think, Tessa?
I think it's gonna be a 1-1. I feel like both of these teams are sort of unknown. Quantify obviously with the I want to say mental boom that they had, and it ends up being an entirely new roster. So with them both being new teams, I feel like it's gonna be a very unknown matchup, a very even matchup, a lot of question marks around this game, but I feel like it's gonna be a 1-1 at the end of the day.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think both games will be really fun to see. But in the end, Black Lotus will take one game of Quantify or the other way around. So yeah, actually, people have been requesting that I draw the last match. Why? I don't know why, but let's see who will
They're
face off in our
bullying you,
last
Linus. They're bullying
matchup.
you.
Okay,
Don't bite in the
this
trolling.
okay, this one is for all the
Okay.
people. Okay, it's the Greasy Goblins. Okay, I really would want them to face off Vitigen here. Um, do you guys think we
Okay.
could see that matchup?
No,
I
spin it again.
I
If
think
it's
it's gonna be
Vitigen, I
tough.
rigged it, by the way. I'm just
This
saying.
is the best Vitagen
Oh my
rotations we've
god,
seen in
how?
Split.
How? Guys, how?
Oh, it's
What?
Vitigen. Oh, I'm sorry that I rigged it.
Oh
Everyone is
my
exposing us
goodness.
now. We've
I
actually
think
just picked the matches we want to
reroll,
see.
reroll, it's rigged.
Oh,
Clip it.
okay, yeah.
Clip it.
I actually will re-roll it again just to see if you guys can. Basically, if it's not Vitigen, then we didn't rig it. Yeah, okay.
Oh,
It
it's
seems it's
Okay.
Vitigen again. Whatever. But yeah, let's go over to. Oh wait, that's here. Let's go over to Vitigen against Greasy Goblins. Mikit, you have already given your prediction. What about you, Dessa?
I feel like it is gonna be a Vitamin 2-0. I feel like with the recent decline in the Goblin performance, the Goblin years, as they say, I feel like Villagen is the favorite coming into this, being the finalist and the champions of Split 4. But what do you think, Linus? What's your thoughts on it?
I mean, I'm basically a member of Vitigen now, and I have the feeling if I don't say 2-0, Jomi will just kick me out of the team. But I actually think it will be a really interesting matchup. It will be the first test for the champions Vitigen to see if they are still the best team of the league. And for Greasy Goblins, it will be a real first, like a first real test. If they actually manage to take one or even two games of Vitigen, that would be a huge statement and I think a really, really good start for the season. I will predict 2-0 for Vitigen though. Um, that's just what I feel will be the one that we can expect. But yeah, that's the first matchup of the first week. Everyone who's in the team should have had a notification so far on Discord. Dessa, why don't you explain everyone how the scheduling works?
So essentially, at least from the way I've understood it, you simply make sure that both of the teams can play those days, and make sure that obviously both of the teams do agree to play. And then make sure after you're done scheduling, you make sure you tag moderator as well, just so we can make sure that we've seen it, just to make sure that we have confirmed the dates, confirmed the days, and you should be good to go. Linus, you got anything to add to that? It was
Yeah, I
pretty
think
much
I will just go over it again. Basically, our main day where you play each week or main time is Sunday 20 o'clock. Every game so far is scheduled for Sunday 20 o'clock. But of course, there are dates that are better for each team. And that's why every team is like we want every team to go into their thread. There's a thread that's created on the Discord. You go into that thread and you basically start communicating with the other team. You give them your best days, they give you their best days, and ideally you will find the best day for both of your teams where you can play main roster. If by any like for whatever reason you're not able to find a solution, maybe the other team just don't have any other days that they can play, like they can only make time for Sunday, or I don't know, like you can play Monday to Wednesday and they can play like Thursday to Saturday. If you're not able to find a solution, even though both teams are trying, we will look into the chats if needed and see that both teams are actually trying for a solution. If you can't find them, it will be always Sunday 20 o'clock. And as soon as the last game is scheduled, which the latest it can start is basically Sunday 22 CST. So it's done by 0 o'clock. As soon as all the games are done, the next round will be drawn. We will announce the next round in Discord, and you can basically start scheduling again. Last time, you were able to push games into the next week. For example, you couldn't find a solution for week 1. You can push it into week 2. Of course, with the Swiss stage that requires all the games to be finished before the next round is drawn, this is no longer possible. That's why you basically can have 10 people on your on your roster. You can add up to 10 people. You have 5 roster swaps per split. So really, if you're not able to play with your main roster all the time, make sure you have substitutes so you can play those matches. Yeah, that's basically how you do it. And now we will go into the last point before finishing this off. We're already talking for over 2 hours now, which is prediction. And everyone here in the chat can also predict their answer to the following questions. But yeah, I think we will start with the first one. And this, I want you to give me your SLE winner for Split 5. Who's the team you think will do it?
Oh boy. I feel like a winner is really hard to predict, especially with how we've seen SLE going past splits already to give a winner. But I think, in my opinion, I can't choose between these two, so I'm gonna have to give you two. But I think two of the strongest teams going into it is gonna be the Snack Pack squad and then the Gucci Yang, I think. Yeah, Gucci Yang. I think those are, in my opinion, the two strongest teams and the two contenders we're gonna have as finalists for Split 5. If I have to decide, if you're gonna put my head on the block and make me
I
decide
will
between
put your
the
head
two,
on the block.
I'll give it to Akira SY. It is with a complete coin toss. I'll give it to Akira SY just because I feel like they do
Like
have
Spy or
sort of an
Gucci
edge.
Yang?
Guccian. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Guccian, yeah. I feel like they have the slight edge, but it's still a coin toss. It is a very tough matchup, I feel like, and both of them are just such a good team.
What about your makers? What's your prediction for the winner of Split 5?
When Dessa said that Rocky Rates Y is gonna win it all, I was like, "Whoa, that's a bold statement." But yeah,
Hot
I think
take.
a little bit of a correction that I assume I can't necessarily say. Yeah, it would be pretty boring if I would just say that. I will just say it like this: the best chance of teams that are not good cheat teams to win it all, I would give it to probably actually Snackback, because their team is very, very solid. And it's a best of 5. We saw Snackback drop best of 3s, not best of 5s, if I remember correctly. And I think they're going to do well in the regular season. I think the fact that there's going to be 16 teams in playoffs, they will get like a solid, like an easier matchup in the first round and the second round probably. So I think they will have like time to warm up in those playoffs and do some real damage. So if not for good cheat teams, I think Snackback has my favorite status right now.
Yeah, actually, I will answer one question before I will give my prediction. In chat, someone asked if a newcomer has ever won the division, which I think he means the split. In Split 1, of course, a newcomer because all teams were new, won with, I think it was NSG Forsaken. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Mikus. In Split 2, Gucci was also a newcomer and they won, Gucci Gaming. In Split 3, it was the first time that a newcomer didn't win because it was Gucci Gaming again. And in Split 4, the one that's just over Vitigen was with, I mean, you could call them a newcomer because they didn't play in
No.
Split 3, but they also played in Split 2 before. So they were not a completely new team. That being said, I actually think that Vitigen will take it again. I think the roster is really good. I'm confident in it. And I think we will have the second team with a second title after the split. That being said, our next category is the biggest surprise of the league. Desa, what have you prepared?
Oh, the biggest surprise. Okay, I have a specification. Do you mean team-wise, or are we talking specific players
Whatever
here?
you think, whatever you feel like.
Ooh, you know what? This might be a hot take, but I feel like Primordials are gonna be the team to look out for. In my opinion, they're also gonna be the team that might give us the biggest surprise. Another team, in my opinion, is Endland, simply due to the amount of experience they have on their backs. Endland, to me, is a squad that's played so much together. Like, we are talking years with the same team outside of their jungle. And it's just the value, I feel like the value of that can't be understated. So to me, if I had to choose one sort of team that's gonna give us a surprise, gonna choose a team that's gonna give us, I feel like, keep us on our toes, it's gonna have to be Enland for me.
Yeah, what about you, Miklos? What's the biggest surprise in the next split?
I think there's a player that has like been a little bit of a meme status, but I think he's actually a very very good player, and I think Lurks is gonna be all SLE support first team, gonna win the role MVP and prove doubters wrong, and prove that he is the best support in SLE.
Okay, that's a statement. I bet his teammates will tell you that that will not be the case, since it's always the teammates of Lurks who flame him the most. But like my big surprise for the split will actually be not a team and also not a player. It will be the EUNE region, better known with Project Imperia and Beast's team, Esports. I think that they will do better than we expect, and both of them will sneak into playoffs and show us why it's a good choice to have two regions compete in the SLE and not just EU West teams. That being said, we go over to the best newcomer category, and I will just start this time. I think the best newcomer by far is Interstellar Aquila. I think they will rival the top teams for the title. They will play for the title for most of the split. And I think they look really, really, really strong on paper. What about you guys? What do you think, Desa?
I feel like I do agree for the most part. They are gonna be really strong coming into this, but again, I'm gonna have to go with Enlan. I feel like they look so good coming into Split 5, in my opinion at least. They look like they're gonna be one of the teams to contend with teams like Gucci, contend with teams like Wacky Wraiths, and some of the top teams, some of the more veteran teams in SLE. And to me, they are my team at least to look out for when it comes to Split 5. But Mikas, what do you think?
Um, Firstly, I don't necessarily agree with Linus that Interstellar Aquenta is going to be that good. I think they lack experience, and I think it's going to be a growing time for them. About the newcomers of the league, yes, I'm actually very excited to see Interstellar Aquenta's mid laner Zedorzo in on the Rift. So if we count him as a newcomer, then he is definitely a player I'm looking for. Other than that, I'm excited to see teams like Ragnarok and um, Beast Team Esports as well. I think they could be making some real damage in this SLE split.
All right. Then we go over to the next category. Kind of the opposite of biggest surprise, which is the biggest disappointment. Mikos, why don't you just continue and tell us the biggest disappointment of next split?
I mean, there's I think this season is going to be much more constructed with teams that are performing well, and I think the reigning champions have lost some very key parts, some proven winners in Ichi and Locod, and I think without them, this team will struggle quite a bit. They will still definitely go to playoffs, but I don't see them necessarily going for a great championship defending run. And it might be a solid season for most teams, but it will not be a satisfying split for Team Vitagen.
Okay. I'll just take that. What about you, Dessa? What do you think will be the biggest disappointment?
Honestly, I'm gonna have to go with Mikos here. I feel like Vidagen lost a couple of key members, and with that being said, members that were crucial to their team. And this isn't, in my opinion, gonna be the same Vitagen we saw in Split 4. This isn't gonna be the same Vitagen we saw take the finals, take Split 4. So, in my opinion, I agree with Mikos 100%. It is Vitagen.
Okay, then we will actually have the battle of the disappointments in week 1, because my take on the biggest disappointment will be the Greasy Goblins. They have came with a breeze into the league. They looked really strong in the first games, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, what is this? What is that lineup? Why are they performing so well?" But I think we will see the reality and the real Greasy Goblins very soon. And for me, they will be the biggest disappointments because they will fall short of the expectations that a lot of people have for them right now. We have 3 more predictions to go, and I will answer the first one. The first one is MVP. Who will get the MVP this split? And I have to give it to my boy Ant. Now that I'm also part of Vitagen, I really see why he got the rookie of the split last split and the top lane of the split last split. I think he has a really good insight in the game. I think his general game knowledge is really good. And I think that this time he will actually show why he got this rookie of the split in the top lane of the split last season. What do you guys think?
I'm smelling some bias, but now all jokes aside, I feel like to me this is gonna be a hot take, and I know for a fact there's gonna be a whole ton of people who disagree with this, but in my opinion, it's gonna be Firefrost. Firefrost to me is someone that you would think, based on the name, is just good on Ashe. And yes, I think he's one of the best Ashes we have in the league, if not the best, at least based on what I've seen. But I feel like his overall play as well has been so good in that bot lane. He, to me, has been the backbone of his team's success, and to me is or has looked like one of the strongest players going to Split 5, so he's definitely gonna have to be my pick.
All about you, Makos. I think, by the way, this is a really good take, Dessa. A really interesting one.
Based, as
Um,
they say.
to have you win MVP, I think there's a couple of things that need to happen. First of all, I think your team kind of needs to finish in the top. I think with having 22 teams, it needs to be like top 5 at least. Then second part is that you kind of need to be like a clear carry in your team. Either your team is like that dominating, or you kind of need to be like standout player. And the third thing is that you kind of need to be somewhat popular within the league, because it is a team voted award. So I'm looking at those 3 standards going in this. And what you said there, Lance, actually, then Ant, he actually could be a contender, because I really feel like his team is not as stacked as it was in the previous split.
So he just might get even more attention than he got in the previous split. And if his team is going to be finishing in the top 5 or top 4 of the SLA regular season, then it's going to be off of him, I believe. I won't necessarily mention the Gucci players because I'm going to being biased. But another player that I think if his team is gonna perform around him and if they are gonna be up there in top 5, I think Sanix ADC for the Blazing Pandas squad. I don't think that Sanix is necessarily the best AD carry, like fundamentals wise. I don't think he has the perfect positioning, but the playstyle of Sanix is so hype and he gets so many kills and he's so aggressive that he definitely always stands out whenever Blazing Pandas are playing. And if he can hold up to that level throughout the split, and if Blazing Pandas can't contend for that top 4, I think he will be a standout player as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good take. I also had Sanix really high up the list. We have two more things which we go over quickly. The first one is yin or yang. Gucci yin or Gucci yang? What do you guys think, Dessa?
To me, it's not even a question. In my opinion, Yang is what we've seen in show matches. Just seems to be the stronger team. They seem to be the more consistent team. And after the absolute bang out win of the show match, they ended up going 3-0. And I think it just being that show match as well cemented them as the stronger side. But I think that's my hot take on it. I'm gonna have to side with Yang. Nikas, what do you think? Who do you think is the stronger side?
Um, um, I choose to decline to answer based on what the Fifth Amendment rights.
Nah, this is a dictatorship. You can't
Yeah,
decline.
you need to answer
We
it.
can't tell you
Yin
to
or
answer.
yang? Then do it by logo. Which color do you like more? Yin or yang?
Um, I guess I'm gonna go with Yin, but based on the fact that I think Sheffer is better on Master Yi than Kansa, and if they ever need to pick that champion, Sheffer has what it takes to be the better Yi player.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm
No,
already
fair enough.
seeing in chat um that they have like 10 kids. I don't know if it's your kids or it's just some random kids that they take hostage. And also, like, they are calling for you to get lynched. So I would just take it over now. I actually, like, I'm really close with those teams. I think both teams are really, really good and will be in the top 5, 6 teams of the league. But I think Gucci Yang is just a bit better right now. Like, maybe I will just eat my words, same as Dessa will. But yeah, for now, that's what I think. And then Wacky vs Y or Wacky vs X. I will start. I actually think that the team with the higher potential might be the X team, but the one which lows are not as low as the one of the other team is Gucci Y, not Gucci Y, Wacky vs Y, and that's why I will pick them as the stronger team right now. What do you guys think? Mikus.
So you picked the Wacky Reds. Why?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Nikas, what do you think? What is your hot take?
I think there's also been a little bit of slander towards Lena. I think she, as a player, last season we saw Wacky Rates play while Lena was in the roster in the actual play games in the official games. She was performing so well in those games, and I think she will be the factor that will bring Wacky Rates X.
Yeah, X.
Yeah, Wacky Rates X to be the better team in this split.
All right, and with the last prediction for today, Dessa, what do you say, X or Y?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to disagree with the gang here. I feel like I'm gonna have to go with X. I feel like at least from what I've seen more of a promise from X. I've seen them lean into their playstyle more. To me, they seem like a team that is very 50-50. Like you said it yourself, Linus, they do have very low lows. But when they perform, they can be one of the top teams in SLE. And if they can get that consistency down, if they can just be that team for 60-70% of their games, it might just be enough to push them through, might just be enough for them to upset some of the better teams and best teams in here. So I'm gonna have to go with X.
All right. I see that we have different opinions on different of these questions, these predictions, but that's good because that means that it's not completely clear, which I think is the best to have like an exciting split. But yeah, I think we should conclude the split, or not the split, the
Oh,
podcast
the
here.
split's over.
Well, the split's
The
over.
split's
Vintage
over,
1,
yeah.
I'm not going to go further into it. I've already rigged it. Yeah, I can call myself an SLE champion now. There you got it. No,
The
just
script
kidding.
is different.
The podcast is coming to its end. I'm really, really happy how it turned out. I saw that we had peaked at around 80 people watching at the same time, which is just a lot. If you consider like every team having like every of the 22 teams have 4 people of their team watching, or 3.8, I think. But yeah, that I think was a great success. I'm really happy how the whole thing went. Thank you very much to Dessa, Mikes, and also Jomi, who's not here anymore. I'm really happy that you joined me, and I'm really thankful for the way that it went. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for letting us be here.
Thank you.
And again, thank you to everyone for tuning in as well, of course.
Yeah. And if there's still any questions left, feel free to always open a ticket. And yeah, we will see you on the Rift or on the stream again in the next days. And I wish you all a great evening.
Bye bye.